with your hosts, Tricky Nick, Alex, I Yield to No One, Sid, and Ender Phoenix.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trophy Wars. This is episode 714. I'm your host, Tricky Mick, alongside with me, the man, the myth, the legend. It's Alex.
Well, it's nice to have you back, Tricky. I don't know how long it's been, but it's nice for you to be here.
It's been 2 weeks.
No. Since the last time you were on the show?
2 weeks ago.
Matt, is this true? I thought he missed a week for work or some nonsense like that.
I'm trying to remember. I think it's only been 2 weeks. I think it was the last 2 Sundays.
The last 2 Sundays, I was on vacation. I missed. And I was here the week before that.
Could have fooled me. But I was knee deep in Mouseburg and investigation, so maybe I wasn't paying too much attention to the outside world.
Yeah, Matt kind of convinced me not to play that game. Matt, how the hell are you doing? He's the man that likes to burn everything. It's Matt.
You know, I actually shared my, first of all, I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Stebbs, a.k.a. Skeena, a.k.a. Martha Stewart. I know generally we do shout outs at the end of the show, but he started listening recently, and this is in line with my opening, in that I shared with him my lighter collection, and he has some antique lighters he is going to be sharing with me, so he is feeding my addiction.
Fuck you, Dex.
So wait, what did Matt do to tell you not to play Mouse PI?
He told me the combat's just a little too hard.
For Tricky.
There is an easy mode.
No, I know that, but go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
I told him the thing about it was it's a traditional boomer shooter. It's fast-paced FPS, which we know Tricky doesn't deal with. I just think he wouldn't get the grasp of it very well.
Well, he doesn't like first-person shooters in general, so yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, you are overwhelmed by enemies quite a bit, so there's a lot of times a lot of gunfighting to do in one area.
I see. It's not necessarily the first-person aspect. It's the fact that and I've said this many times on the show. It's that when I'm in combat, I like to see my surroundings, so I don't jump off fall off a cliff or fall downstairs or whatever the case may be. If I have to dodge, I want to know that, hey, I can dodge to the left and I'm not against a wall or something. So, by the way, fuck you, Dex, who says hello, Matt, Alex, and guest. So
I don't know. Again, Dex is just out here living, that good life. I mean, can you fault Dex for spitting the truth?
it's not the truth.
Sometimes Tricky, it does feel like you're a guest. Let's be real.
I'm
Sometimes
the
that
founder
way.
of this podcast.
Well, you think the founder would find a way to not feel like a guest on his own damn podcast?
I'm sorry that I held down the fort for 12 plus years, and that I got sick. I decided to finally take a vacation. I'm sorry that I decided to take a little time off for myself.
Oh, held down the fort for 12 plus years. Tricky, stop.
I didn't miss a show for like 12 years.
How long has this show been going? Because
Well, do the math, Alex. 50
I don't
episodes.
do math.
50 episodes a year. We're on episode 714. So that means we've been doing this show. I've been doing this show for how many years?
I don't know, Tricky.
Take 7,
you're
multiply by 2.
Tricky. If you're suggesting you haven't missed a show, you didn't miss a show for 12 years, you're full of shit.
No, there were shows missed, but very rarely did I miss a show.
Whatever the hell that logic means, but
Means we
yes,
took weeks
whatever.
off for whatever reason, but I very rarely missed a show that got recorded. With
Okay,
the
well, I will not. I will not be arguing the truth with you, Tricky.
because I'm right.
No, Dex. I think Dex said it all in one sentence. Hello, Matt. Hello, Alex. Hello, guest.
You
Hello,
know,
Dex.
I can take every week off and just sit back and run the website. If you guys want to do the show,
Matt and I can also take every week off. But you know what that means, Matt? If you and I take every week off, it means there's no fucking show.
see Dex, see what
Sounds
you
about
started,
right.
Dex. This is what you started, Dex.
Sometimes the truth has to come to light, Tricky.
Yeah, you know what?
Dex is like Alan Wake. He's got that flashlight. He's dispelling the darkness with his flashlight, and you just don't like it, like you don't like Alan Wake.
That's a bad reference.
How is that a bad reference?
Dex says new show, Matt, Alex, and Friends.
That's
Anyway.
definitely what the show is.
Let's do our updated trophy count. I am level 985 total trophies of 35,687 with a tax return of 1040 platinums. Alex?
Level 533, total trophy count of 11,261, and a platinum count of 209 in 208 games. For those of you who can count like Tricky, that's an extra platinum this week.
I messed up my own joke. Damn it. I was supposed to say...
Is that why nobody laughed? Is that why nobody laughed at it?
Well, because I didn't do the joke. I was supposed to say 1040 EZ like all my platinums are. I just forgot to say that part.
It's not easy E, it's easy T. Easy Tricky.
Yield is level 544 total trophies of 11,920 with 229 plats. He also has a new platinum, which I think, if I looked correctly, was Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Matt, what about you, sir?
What am I? Well, yeah, I didn't touch my PlayStation last week, so I haven't changed since last week. Level 224, 1,392 trophies and 0 platinums.
And Sid is level 902 with total trophies of 28,167 with 869 platinums. I think he's just purposely staying there, just so we have to keep saying 69. What do you think?
Well, when you say it all perverted like that,
I mean, we are on a show with whores in the title. It'd be a disservice if I didn't say it all perverted, wouldn't it?
I don't know if anybody at 40 plus years old wants to hear you say anything in a perverted manner. They're Tricky.
See, I could make so many comments, but I'm just gonna leave it alone. You're aggravating me, Alex. I'm not feeling too good, sis.
Matt, I love how the flow of this show is already fucked up because Tricky's rusty as shit when it comes to podcasting.
You know what? Yes, I am rusty, but I'm also not feeling too good. I gave myself food poisoning last night.
Did you cook your own meal that gave you food poisoning?
I did, and I would tell you what I'm cooking, but Matt would take away my Italian heritage card in a heartbeat.
Probably.
You got takeout Olive Garden, didn't you?
I did not. I made myself a chicken parm, but I forgot to defrost the chicken, so I had to substitute the chicken, and I went to a local fast food restaurant and got nuggets.
I'm staring at the screen right now.
Which fast food restaurant did you go to make your MacGyver chicken parm?
That would be Wendy's.
You went back to the nuggets that almost killed you?
Technically, it was a spicy nugget that almost killed me. But I was in a pinch. Dupe says nugget parm.
Why not just
what?
Instead of going to get ingredients from Wendy's like some kind of psychopath, just buy the full Wendy's meal and just eat the Wendy's and save the food. Like defrost your chicken for another night, put it in the fridge for overnight, 24 hours, let it defrost, and then cook the chicken parm another night and just buy the Wendy's as a full meal.
Because I already started the sauce and the noodles. I mean, granted, I could have just had spaghetti and red sauce, but...
So, wait, okay. Help me understand this.
How did you get food poisoning, though? Was it from the nuggets?
I don't know.
Are you saying the nuggets gave you food poisoning?
Help me understand this. You're thinking, I'm going to make chicken parm.
Correct.
And you start all the things. Did you just not realize you were missing the main ingredient?
I thought I took the chicken out, and it was in the fridge. After I started everything else, I went to go get the chicken, and realized I never took it out of the freezer, so it was frozen.
All right. Here's the tip of what you do. In the future, instead of fucking yourself over, you get a bowl. You put said frozen chicken, beef, pork in that bowl, still in its bag. Then you fill that bowl with water, and then you leave the faucet on a slow drip into that bowl, and over a half hour, it defrosts just fine.
But I didn't have a half hour. I only had 10 minutes until the noodles cooked.
Okay, you stop cooking the noodles. The noodles are the easiest thing to not worry about.
So okay, hold on. Here's my question. Why the fuck did you start cooking the noodles before the chicken? I understand the sauce, but why did you cook the noodles before you started cooking the protein?
Because you cook, when you drop the noodles, is when you take the chicken and you start frying it up a little bit. And then you take all the ingredients at the same time, you stick them in the oven with the cheese on top of it, which cooks the chicken the rest of the way. You don't fully cook the chicken in the pan, you fully cook it in the oven.
So hold on. Was all this stuff still cooking and then you went to the Wendy's, or did you have Wendy's deliver?
No, I went to Wendy's. It's like 2 blocks away.
How long did that take?
What did you do with the food? Did you leave it on the stove?
Yeah. You cook the sauce on a low heat, and the noodles,
Okay, so I go back to how long did it take you to get down to Wendy's and back with your chicken nuggets?
5 minutes.
That's bullshit. You're in line for 5 minutes.
No, my Wendy's is not actually that busy.
What were you going to do if they were out of nuggets?
I guess I was just going to have spaghetti and red sauce. We're getting a lot of comments in the chat about this.
Because everyone's like, where did you learn to cook?
Dex says, I can feel the heat in Australia. Dupe says, I was thinking the exact same thing, Alex. Dex says, the effort you used to buy the nugs, couldn't you have just grabbed a new piece of chicken from a shop? No. They were all closed. And then Dupes made a smiley faces. He goes, he also says, Chicky's World is a strange, strange place. Listen, I fully admit that what I did was against Italians, and it's a front against Italians. But you do have to give me credit for thinking on my feet and still having
Wait a
chicken.
second. Hold on. Spicy chicken nuggets?
No. Normal chicken nuggets.
Okay, I thought I heard wrong. I apologize.
No, spicy chicken nuggets is what almost killed me when I had the dental surgery. But
You know, one of these days, Wendy's is going to listen, and they're going to sue you for suggesting that one of their nuggets almost killed you. But again, I have never been cooking and cooked the noodles after like. How far after you started cooking the noodles did you start cooking would you have started cooking the protein? Because by then the noodles will have been too cooked.
immediately, you drop the noodles, you turn around, you get the chicken out of the fridge, and then go. I feel the judgment from everybody right now.
There's a lot of judgment, yes, because it exists.
Listen, Matt, you have to give me some kind of credit for
No, I fucking do not.
for thinking on my feet. Okay.
If you were thinking on your feet, the chicken would have been fucking thawed, Tricky. That'd be thinking on your feet.
Tricky.
Yes, sir.
This abomination of a chicken parm meal you made deserves no credit. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Okay, hold on.
We are all dumber for having listened to you.
Okay, now I want you both to look at your phones, because I just sent you a picture of it, because I knew this was going to be a button topic. I just sent you a picture of it. Look at it and tell me if that did not come out looking fairly good.
You're asking me if this penne pasta with a side of chicken nuggets, a wall of chicken nuggets on the side, a full mountaintops dusting of Parmesan cheese and just this red sauce looks... No, Tricky. That looks like a mishmash. That looks like someone went to fucking middle school home ec and tried to teach these kids how to make Parmesan.
You know what?
Chicken parm.
Yield just gave it a heart. So,
You know, Yield didn't hear the story. Yield didn't hear the story because I'm sure if he heard the story, he'd be gobsmacked too. No, that Tricky, it looks edible. That's the most credit I'll give you. It looks edible. Matt, what in the hell?
Hold on.
I'm really gonna come out to Staten Island and throat punch you for sharing this shit.
I just sent it to Dupes and Dex on Facebook. If you guys want to go see what it looks like. Dex says, dude, you're getting judged for buttfuck nowhere in Australia. Dupe says, the Frankenstein of cuisine. And the Dex comes back and says, the way Alex describes it, it sounds something like a 5-year-old would eat.
I mean, it's not far from like elementary artwork.
Like, yeah, I'd eat it if I was like in prison and this was the fucking thing that they put me in front of my face and on my deathbed. Like,
no, if they handed me this, if this was my last meal, I'd be like, let's just get this over with.
You know,
just knock the plate over.
This reminds me. So, as I said, my buddy Stebbs was listening to this show, and he's kind of going through the back catalog, and he came upon the episode where Tricky told us about Cookie Puss, and I had purged that from my mind only to remember it after he mentioned it, and I had to share the picture. And yes, kill it with fire indeed. That's how I feel about this meal that you just shared with us.
I don't want to hear a damn word about Tricky being a good cook anymore. This completely murders any suggestion. They let you feed your own child, Tricky? What is going on here?
Oh, well, Dex on Facebook just gave it a smiley face, so he likes it. But Dupes in the chat says, I thought that was something you collected in the trash. Come on. I think I did pretty good recovering. I'm not saying it's a Michelin 5-star meal.
No, Tricky, no. You get no credit for this.
It looks like the cover of a Garbage Pail Kids trading card.
Dex says, look, Tricky, I give you points for trying. That's all I'm looking for here. I'm not saying like
the thing is you were trying to emulate chicken parm as best you could, and all the nuggets are on the side of the fucking
listen,
they're not incorporated in the middle at all.
Listen, it's chicken, okay? All right,
if you believe Wendy's sells chicken. Also, you would have been better off going to Olive Garden, Tricky, than doing this.
All right, well,
I know you had something against Olive Garden, but for God's sakes, it would have been better than this.
All right, well,
I don't think self-respecting Italians eat it and go to Wendy's as a backup plan.
well, I might as well just go down the rabbit hole now. I ate at Olive Garden when I was on vacation.
Oh, so you gave me all this shit when
It wasn't my
English
choice.
and Scottish heritage,
was-
and you're like over here like I'm
it
super
was-
Italian, man.
It
and
was
then
not
you're going to eat at
my,
Olive Garden.
it was not my choice. A bunch of friends wanted to go out to dinner. I got into town. I asked them where they were. They said they were at Olive Garden. I
You
didn't.
know what? Those friends listen to the show and they're like, "This motherfucker doesn't like Olive Garden. We're gonna drag him there." He talked all this shit to Alex about. Those are my fans. Those are my people right there. They're like, he talked all this shit to Alex. We're taking him to Olive Garden, so he's got to eat some fucking crow.
I almost got the what is it, the tour of Italy, but I decided not to.
Matt, is this guy even Italian?
Listen, you don't have to be Italian to eat at Olive Garden. We're all family.
Did you get paid for this?
No, but I fucking should.
Did you get a coupon in the mail from Olive Garden for that?
Did you watch the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie?
I did not know.
There's a running joke where like the general of the U.S. Army is like, "Oh, and here's your gift card to Olive Garden for saying thanks for all your help." And like he just keeps talking about going to Olive Garden.
Tricky, did you enjoy your meal at Olive Garden at the very least?
I don't even remember what I got, honestly. I think
But you remember that you almost got the tour of Italy?
Yeah, because when I went to order, like I didn't even want to look at the menu because I was so disgusted I was there. Remember you saying you got the tour of Italy when you went there, so I looked at the menu. I think I got the chicken Alfredo, if I remember correctly.
Sounds like you should have gotten the chicken parm there and just left it at that. Again, okay, hold on. Before we can move on, how did you give yourself food poisoning?
I don't know.
This meal?
I really don't know. All I know is I ate it, and then about a half hour, 45 minutes later, I was having things come out of both ends. Dupe
I don't know what
says
to do with that.
Dupe says you should suggest a new nugget parm to get them to put that on Olive Garden special. All right, let's get on with the show.
Thank God.
I'll bet Olive Garden doesn't put Wendy's chicken nuggets in their chicken parmesan.
We're going to throw it across to Yield for this week's rarity update. Thank you, Yield, for that. You know, when I edit this show, because it's my week to edit, I'm going to put a Adam Ferrara bit in there about why Italians don't eat at Olive Garden. I'm just going to put that in there. Anyway, we do not have a Sophie Trophies this week. I did reach out to Sid. He said he's going to do one next week. He likes to let the Platinums build up, so he has a lot to talk about. So he's not just doing like a 2-minute thing. He's doing like a 4 or 5 minute thing. So Sid will hopefully be back next week. Let's get into what we're playing. Alex, what are you playing, sir?
Well, this week for me has been rather boring. I haven't really gotten to as much as I would like to, with it being springtime. Walking the dog, doing stuff in the yard has been, it just takes up a bunch of your time. And as we learn about me, once I get a platinum trophy, I tend to take my time getting to the next game. So I guess that's the first announcement. I got another platinum trophy, which I hinted at earlier. Mouse PI, finished my second playthrough of that, and hopefully Matt played some of that because I'd like to hear more of his thoughts on the game. But yeah, finished Mouse PI, played more of Rocket League and Helldivers, and continued to tinker with my base and Subnautica Below Zero. So that's pretty much all I've been playing, despite my desire to buy a few other things. I've shared it last week, but I think the roadmap for me going forward until I buy Saros is going to be, which who knows, maybe be this week, but got a lot of stuff going on with 3 Mother's Days to take care of. But yeah, the Darkstalkers games, Saturday Night Slam Masters, and then eventually Dragon Pearl Destruction, the He-Man game. Already got tickets to the He-Man movie, so excited to see that. But yeah, that's been a boring week for me, but that's just kind of what I got on the radar going forward.
All right, Matt, what are you playing, sir?
What did I play? I was telling Tricky before the recording. It's been a busy and stressful week at work, but I did get a couple things in. First, I played a little bit of Arc Raiders. There's a new expedition ending shortly, which means that if you've filled out your project slots, you get to reset your character to 0 and start leveling again. But that also means you lose all of your weapons, your inventory, your blueprints. So I've been helping my friend, you know, Kalaya actually is playing as well, so I've been helping her. I've been helping my other friend Steve. Basically, what they're doing is they're dropping me blueprints. I'm picking them up and then extracting with them. So when it comes time for them to reset, I can give them the blueprints so they can at least get a leg up on their new runs. I also did some rat hunting. I really didn't find much. We've been playing some games where people are saying, yeah, we're friendly. And then the second you turn around, they shoot you in the back. So I am keeping a shotgun raised for anybody I come across in that game.
Can
I
I
really hate rats.
can I cut you off for a second? Because I've learned 2 new terms ever since Arc Raiders came out: goop and rat. Can you define what both of those are for me and for other people who may not know?
I've never heard of goop, so I can't help you with that one. Rats are just basically, rat bastards, people who are feigning nice or stalking players for easy kills, basically assholes. And, we're just trying to have fun with the game, and they're coming in. And listen, I know it's part of the game. So we call them rats. They kill us. It happens. So, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. And Dex says goop is loot.
Yeah, I knew, but I just figured I'd let you explain it. Goop is spelled GOOP, stands for gear off other players. So
Okay, so there's that.
yeah, I knew what it was. I just figured I'd let you explain it. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I haven't heard. So I've been doing that in Arc Raiders. Played a little bit of Mugenics. I'm just trying to gear up the house, get things better in the game. Also played some more, what was that called? Hyrule Warriors, just leveling up my different characters, the different weapons in the game. Alex, I'm sorry, I did not play more Mouse PI this week. I do intend to do some of that this week. There's been days that I just get home and I just stare at YouTube for 5 hours because I'm like, I can't deal with this. So we'll be playing more of that. I definitely want to finish the game. I want to see what else is in it. I want to get more upgraded weapons because it's fun. It definitely is a fun game and I enjoy it.
Well, that's another thing. I was kind of curious on your thoughts on all the weapons, but obviously I'll wait because one of the weapons you get very late in the game, like last few levels. So, but I do want to hear about your thoughts on the weapons. But also, I figure you have to finish it because you got to get that review out.
Yes, I definitely need to do that. And I don't think I have too much longer. I'm maybe 40-50% into the game. Let's see what else. I played a lot more Slay the Spire 2 with my buddies Steve, Kalai, and Stebbs, where we were playing through the game and we actually beat one of the Act 3 bosses called the Doormaker, and then the very next day that boss gets patched out of the game. Funny, it's a predictable boss. You know exactly what it's going to do. It doesn't exactly hit hard. It's just frustrating to deal with. So I guess the devs have fielded a bunch of complaints with players saying so they removed it, added a different boss in that we haven't encountered yet.
Well, hold
We've
on,
won
Matt,
a couple runs.
The Doormaker, does he know the Keymaster?
No, but he does know the Baker Man.
I'd like to meet Rick Moranis. I need to
I'm
find
sorry, the
somebody who
Muffin
knows him.
Man. Wow, I fucked that up really bad.
I thought that's what you
Yes.
meant, but I was like, I don't know to correct you.
I've always wanted to meet Rick
struggling.
Moranis. I guess the journey continues to meet good old Rick.
Well, maybe when Spaceballs 2, the new one, comes out, he'll be on tour and you can meet him. Let's
Wait,
see.
hold on. Are you saying he's in that movie?
Yes, you didn't know that?
That's his return to Hollywood, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he came out of retirement specifically for this movie.
I'm assuming he's gonna be Dark Helmet again.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, pretty much the entire cast is coming back, and I think it's John Candy's son
Yes.
playing a role, not Barf, but maybe Barf's son or something like. I don't know, but
Yeah,
yes.
I didn't want to be the one to have to bring that up.
Yeah, well, So yeah, we're playing more Slay the Spire 2. I've started trying to learn a new class in the game called the Regent. He basically he's like a board ruler, and some minions carry him around on a chair. And in the middle of the fight, you see these minions just kind of like struggling to keep the chair up. And when he dies, the minions fall down, the chair crumbles. So playing more of that. And then yesterday and today, I actually spent a lot of time playing Crimson Desert, just doing a lot more in the game, really starting to get the hang of gathering missions, going on side quests, upgrading my skills. Combat is starting to click for me because I'm realizing as I'm surrounded, I have a lot more moves than just mashing attack. There's your heavy attack, there's spin attacks, there's all these wrestling moves you could do. It's actually starting to click, and I'm beating some bosses. I beat one boss called Sigurd the Stag Lord, basically a guy wearing a giant deer buck head, and he's got a massive sword and shield. I ended up getting his shield after I beat him, which is nice. But I'm starting to click in the game, starting to get the exploration down, starting to get, before I was kind of struggling for side missions, going, all right, where the hell do I go next? And then I realized you have to just go to your journal and find the next phase of the faction quest you've got. So I'm just entering Act 4 of the game. I don't know how many acts there are, but it's really starting to click for me. I'm enjoying it. I'm starting to upgrade my weapons, and I'm finding that it's not so much like you're going out there to find new weapons and armor. It's you're refining the stuff. If you find something you like, make sure you're upgrading it. Make sure you're refining it, because that's really how you kind of get some of your gains when you're fighting some of these mobs. But that's all I've been doing this week, Tricky.
Yeah. Also, Bill Pullman's son's in the movie too. So you go. All right. What have I been playing?
Wait, is Bill Pullman dead?
No, he's in the movie.
Oh, okay. You were just saying, because I remember Bill Paxton had passed away, but I was like, isn't Bill Pullman still alive?
Yeah, Bill Pullman's son's playing it, and John Candy's son's in the movie, which I'm assuming, it's gonna be a connection that they had kids. His character's name is actually gonna be Starburst, and John Candy's son is gonna be playing Barf Jr. All right, what have I been playing? I've been playing Assassin's Creed 3, mostly. I did try to play some Fall Guys today. Got a whole bunch of rare trophies in that, so my numbers are good.
That game's still operational?
Yes, actually, it's still going strong. They're adding new things to it. But mostly I've been playing Assassin's Creed 3. It's going to be a while before I get this platinum, because 2 of these trophies are giant pains in the asses. There's one called the Extraordinary Man, which is to complete the Encyclopedia of the Common Man, which basically you have to walk around your home base of the homestead, and you have to wait for the NPCs to do a certain action, and then you have to log it. So, like the loggers, you have to wait until they're loading a truck, or you have to wait until they're both sawing something together, or you have to wait until they're both drinking a drink, or whatever it is. And they don't always do that, so you got to wait for that. And the other one is Entrepreneur, not Pirate. No, excuse me. In Good Standing, which you have to complete all the challenges for all the clubs, which is a pain in the ass. You have to do like all these certain tasks for them. But yeah. And then the DLC, because I'm playing the remastered version, the DLC trophies are all part of the platinum, so I have to go through and do those too. And I'm not convinced whether or not I'm going to start playing, I think it's Liberation. Was Liberation the DLC for 3? Somebody else.
The DLC for 3 was I think the corrupt George Washington or something. King Washington.
Well, no, okay, no, I'm sorry. The Tyranny of King Washington is the DLC. There was another form on it, because hold on, now it's gonna drive me crazy. AC3 remastered, because both games were attached to this. Not Ace Combat 3.
Maybe Google's like, this is the game you should be playing instead of Assassin's Creed 3.
Now it's bringing up Hello Neighbor Act 3. What the fuck?
Maybe type out Assassin's Creed.
It
Did you
could.
type ass creed? That's how I feel about that band.
What the hell? Hold on.
Matt, there's a video. I don't know if you've seen it where they're all playing on top of mountains, and like they're all far apart, and there's like canyons in between them. Is it My Sacrifice? I can't remember, but there's a video out there on YouTube that's like what this song would actually sound like. So instead of all the music concurrently playing through the video as they're switching to the different members of the band on different like mountains, it like just goes dead silent for a while until it gets to like Scott Stapp who's singing, but you can't hear like the backing guitar or anything like that.
It just plays whatever that is on the screen.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm getting everything except for what I need. Everything keeps saying this. It's telling me about the main game and the DLC, but it's not telling me the other game. Liberation, yes. It's Liberation. Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation. That's a separate trophy list. So I don't know if I'm going to start doing that or start playing Assassin's Creed 4 afterwards. But I did notice that Darksiders, the PS5 version, is coming out a week, a week after you listen to this episode.
Tricky, why the hell would you play Assassin's Creed 4 right now? Is that the remastered version already out, or the remake?
No, the remake doesn't come out until July.
Well, then why the hell wouldn't you just wait for the remake?
Because I'm like 4 trophies away from getting the platinum.
Oh, you're not starting fresh.
No, I'm not starting fresh.
I was like, man, just wait for the definitive version of the game to come out.
Well, I am gonna.
So wait, can you? I guess since I bought it on the PS3, I wouldn't be entitled to a free upgrade to the PS5 version of Darksiders.
If you have Darksiders Remastered Edition, it is a free upgrade.
Remastered Edition.
If you have the
Darksiders Remastered.
Yeah, if you have that 4 version, you get a free upgrade to the 5. I just saw that today. That's why it's not on the
It's been a dang long
PlayStation
time
Store.
since I played Darksiders, the original.
Yeah, it's a good game.
It's it's the best game in the series. Until they ruined it with 2.
I don't know. I kind of thought 2 was better. I understand.
Each their own, but goddamn, Tricky.
I understand the argument. I understand the argument, but me personally, I think 2 is better. 1 had a better protagonist.
I think 2 is where they lost the plot. I think it was they tried to get away too much from what made the first Darksiders really, really good. Because I guess they probably maybe took it personal that everyone was like, "Oh man, this is the Dark Zelda game that everybody always wanted." And everyone talked about how they took things from other games and perfected it in this game. And then maybe they took it personally and said, "We gotta make something different." And I just think they lost the plot in 2.
Well, so I assume you're not going to play 4 when it comes out?
I mean, I played 4. But I'm not playing 3. I played 3 of the Darksiders game, but will not play 3.
Why not?
Because it's not good.
I did start 3, but I did go back to 2 and 1 to try to platinum those before I started playing 3. I do have 3.
I mean, I like Genesis. I enjoy Genesis more than I like 2.
That was the top-down one, right?
That was the one where you play as War and Strife.
Right, but it was top-down play, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I think I played that for about an hour.
I don't know why, Tricky. You can see all the cliffs and all the walls, so you can see your character. You need to know when you need to dodge.
Don't be
and
a
everything.
dick.
Not gonna fall off a cliff.
Don't be a dick.
I'm telling it like it is, Tricky.
I don't think I own that game, even though I bought the collector's edition. I don't think I own that game. Because I think I got a physical copy. I sold the physical copy. I never bought it digitally.
Well, who knows? Maybe I'll play Darksiders on the PS5 because it's been since the PS3 and I played it.
Do you have the War Mastered edition?
I don't, so I would have to pay for it again. But I'm not going to play it before I play Sorrows or something like that. There's other games I want to play first, but I'll see eventually about playing it. Who knows? Maybe it'll come to Plus.
It's only going to be $30.
Well, that's nice.
Yes.
At least if you when you buy a game again, they could give you some kind of break on it.
Yeah. Let's see. Release date's May 19th. Price is $30. And it says free upgrade for anybody that bought the 4 version.
Well, who knows? Maybe if the 4 version's cheap as shit now, go look and see what the cost of that is, and just buy that, or just wait for the 4 version to go on sale and see if you can get it for even cheaper.
Hold on. I'm gonna go look because it's on the store. Oh wait, I might not be able to see the price because I already own it. Unless I log out. Hold on, I'm gonna log out. Sign out. It is $20. So you want to
So
save?
what you're saying is you should just go buy the PS4 version, the War Master edition, and then get a free upgrade to the PS5 version for free.
I'm not saying that.
I mean, I think that's the smart thing to do, Tricky.
Yeah, but with all the Sony layoffs, they need as much money as they can get right now.
They're not. Sony doesn't own Darksiders.
I'm making a joke. You take everything I say so literal.
It comes off that way, Tricky. It comes off not as a joke, and it comes off as completely.
Matt,
literal.
did you know that I was joking?
I don't care.
You're
You
supposed
guys are talking about a game I have no interest in.
You have no interest in Darksiders?
I tried it. Didn't like it.
Really? What didn't you like about it?
I didn't like the setting.
Okay, that's fair. All right. Well, Matt, I'm going to throw it over to you for what our topics, our news.
Alrighty, so to start off our news segment, I do apologize for bad news. So, guess what? This week, Nintendo announced a price revision to their products and services. So basically, the Nintendo Switch 2 and their Nintendo Switch Online. So as of May 25th, the Nintendo Switch 2, the Japanese language only system in Japan, will be increasing its price. And I do also, they have a Switch price increase. If you can remember, when Switch 2 launched, they had a Japanese only system that you couldn't do all the other things. Like, it wasn't multi-regional. So it was cheaper than everything else. So that's going from 49,980 yen to 59,980 yen. So an increase of 10,000 yen. The United States, Canada, Europe, the Switch 2 is getting a price increase come September 1st, giving you like 3 months being able to buy it. So the Switch 2 in the United States is going from $450 to $500, in Canada $630 to $680, and in Europe $470 to $500. And Nintendo Switch Online, for those in the US, the oh geez, they do have a couple other things here. In Japan, as of July 1st, I'm sorry, is going up. So I'm just going to cover the year here. From 12 months is 4,500 yen to 5,800 yen, and the expansion pack is going from 8,900 yen to 9,900 yen. So it doesn't appear to be a price increase in the US or other regions, but you know, this isn't the first time that these companies have increased the prices. Obviously, Nintendo increased the price on in the US on the Switch recently over the last couple months, and now it is the Switch 2, which we all kind of thought was coming. I think it's just interesting that in the US, especially, that we've got like a 3-month reprieve to maybe pick up systems, and now I'm reading that there's scalpers going out there trying to pick up as many Switch 2 units as possible and maybe hold on to them until it goes on a price increase. But this is to be expected with the things going on with hardware and RAM and AI generation sucking up all of the hardware out there. I don't know. I continue to say this has been the worst generation of consoles ever. Not only are we getting kind of diminishing returns, but now instead of prices going down, prices have been going up on consoles. So I leave that there for you two to discuss this, because I'm tired of this already.
Well,
So someone made the joke online. It's like, I'm glad my consoles appreciate in value.
Did you mention that the original Switch, is going up in price too, or no?
That was Japan only that it had it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I mean, this sucks, but I mean, did anybody not see this coming? I mean, I know people made the comments, "Oh, Nintendo's the only one that didn't raise their price." I kind of saw this coming.
No,
They
I
did
think we
answer
all saw it.
question. They did field questions about this maybe within the last 6 months or so, and it seemed very much murky. Like they weren't like it's never going to happen, but we don't like. I think it was it's not right now, but we can't say in the future. We can't speak on that. I mean, at some point, if Nintendo, or Sony, and Microsoft are doing it, you can kind of see the writing on the wall. And with all the cost-effective technology, it's obviously going to hit Nintendo at some point. I will say, one, it's nice to have a heads up, but two, also like $50 to me isn't enough of a jump because you're essentially paying for a bundle without the game. So it's $50. It's not enough of a jump for me to go out and just run out and get one just to have it because there's still no games I would go buy for it. So to me, it's like, all right, it's still at 500. It's not like a $200 jump. So I'm just gonna sit on it. I'm not gonna get one, and now if they announce Ocarina of Time remake tomorrow, then I'll go get one tomorrow. But without that, it's just not enough of a price jump for me to panic and go get one when I really wouldn't spend any money on any games. Like, yeah.
I mean, it's
So what you're saying is it's not like the PS5 Pro price jump.
Well, also it's a newer console, so it's not like Sony or Microsoft where their consoles have been out for years, and it's like you all are really charging more when you're like your sales are going down at these current prices.
the
Like
five.
you,
The 5 Pro jumped 150, right? From 750 to 900.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Alex.
But I mean, they've already hit their peak of sales. I mean, they're not like they're going down, so it's like to raise your prices. It's like, well, is at this point the Switch 2 can only go up. It hasn't been out long enough for them to get their peak. So with the Switch 2, you can kind of maybe justify a little more. I'm glad their online services aren't going up in the United States because their online services suck. Nintendo has no right to be charging any upcharge on their services, online services. I know they charge extra for the expansion pack for like the Nintendo 64 channel, but as far as what they provide otherwise, they don't need to be charging any more for that. It's garbage.
Well, we're coming up on a year of the Switch 2 being out. So,
And I can say I've had a genuinely good time with my Switch 2. Buying Switch 2 versions of games that they've been releasing as well has been worth my time. You know, I've had a lot of fun with Donkey Kong and Hyrule Warriors and Mario Kart and even Pokemon ZA. It's you know, even going back revisiting some other games that they've redone for or re-enabled extra processing power for the Switch 2 just shows like what the original Switch really should have been. So I'm happy and secure in my purchase, but like we said, you have 3 months to get it until the price agrees. And now, actually, I didn't put it in here, but Nintendo did have a sudden direct last week for Star Fox. This is both good and bad because a lot of people are upset that what happens is that they announced, hey, by the way, here's a new Star Fox game for the Switch 2. And by the way, it releases on June 25th. However, the catch is it's really just kind of like a remake of Star Fox 64, which is kind of the second time that games be remade, which is like the third time overall, because Star Fox 64 was just kind of like a redux of Star Fox from the SNES, and then there was the Star Fox 64 3D, which was on 3DS, and now you have this. But I can tell you, and some people aren't happy with the model of Star Fox, is they are putting a lot of graphical power behind the game, and it looks great. But that being said, it's another Switch 2 game that's coming out very shortly that I am buying. And on top of that, I can't remember if we covered it a couple weeks ago, but Nintendo is starting to do a price difference between digital goods and physical goods. And the Star Fox 2 or Star Fox on the eShop digitally was $50 and physical was going to be $60. Well, queuing Amazon and Walmart, and their pre-ordering is $50 for the physical version. Now, I normally don't enjoy pre-ordering, But if it's going to save me money on a game I know I'm going to get, okay, I'll do it. So there's reasons enough now to buy a Switch 2 before this price increase, because that $50 could be another game for you. And not to mention, you still are able to play all of your old Switch games. And even if it isn't created for the Switch 2, like for instance, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which had notorious frame drops and performance issues on the Switch 1, even before the Switch 2 performance upgrade, it performs and plays better than it did on the Switch 1. So it's sad again that this generation consoles keeps increasing its prices as opposed to getting better. And Alex, that is a very good point. That first time ever, it seems like tech is appreciating to a degree, but
until you try to sell it to GameStop. Until you try to sell it to GameStop.
Well, then they're just going to take it and put it on eBay when they own eBay.
So I actually saw a video on YouTube today. We were sitting down to watch some television, and a video of what happened to James McCloud, Fox's dad, came up. It was Pigma's betrayal, and I was like, is that like for real? So I guess that's where this came from, right? Was that included in the game, the Switch 2 footage, Matt?
Yeah, so basically they showed the prologue, which leads up to the events of Star Fox. So it's kind of like, I don't know if it's a retelling. I don't know if it's going to be like a playable section, but it was definitely this is what happened, and this is why we're now Fox McCloud doing the things we do. Which makes sense because they obviously reference it. They reference it in Star Fox 64, and I saw someone online make a joke. It's like, that's why I go for Pigma every time when I meet Star Wolf. I kill Pigma first. And it's like, hell yeah. So, but no, I mean, honestly, Matt, they've tried so many different things with Star Fox. They tried adding new vehicles. They've tried Star Fox getting out of this R-Wing and going on land. Like, the best thing they could do is remake 64 again. That's the best thing they could do. People in the Channel 3 community who are very upset it's not another Star Fox adventure. Because Star Fox 64 is a really good game. Like, if Resident Evil 2 can get the remake treatment and be celebrated, if Silent Hill 2 could get a remake treatment and be celebrated, if Last of Us 1 could get remade and everybody complains about it, why not Star Fox?
It's because, the problem is they don't know what to do with Star Fox at this point. Yeah. They had that success, that extreme success with 64, the best game in the series, and like they just have not known where to go to follow it up. They can't evolve the series, which is why we're back at this point. But I mean, to me, a remake of Star Fox 64 it's a good thing. Like a better looking version, better playing version of that game will be incredible on a large television.
And it's going to have online, I think I read it was online co-op, as well as, online battle arena. So it's everything you want from Star Fox. I remember fondly going over to my friend's house, and we were doing Star Fox 64 on his TV with his friends. And R-Wing versus the Landmaster. It was fun and gave a variation of play. The Chicken Walker in Star Fox 2 was horrible. And I don't think that'll make it over. But to sit here and bring it back to the original reason why we're talking is because, the Switch 2 has faced some challenges. I think recently they came out and said that they've sold 19.6 million since launch. So about a year in, they've sold almost 20 million units. That's definitely better than the Wii U. I have to look at it to see how it compares to the original Switch. I think it outsold the original Switch. And now you have Sony out there saying, well, we've shipped 98 million PS5s. And again, that's just shipped. That's not necessarily sold. So I still think when you look at the Switch 2 for what it does and for the price you're getting in this environment, $50 could be a deal breaker for a lot of people. But I think it's given what other competitors have been doing, $50 is the least that they could do.
And for me personally, like I'm not trying to say like just write off $50, like, oh man, $50, I wipe my nose with that. But for me, it's like I'm not going to make the Switch 2, if I buy it, if and when I buy it, it's not going to be my main console. it's going to be like a secondary console, which I buy some of their games. So for me, an extra $50, I would rather buy it when it's the right time for me and just say spend less money on games because I'm not going to spend much money on games. You know, like Star Fox, Ocarina of Time, maybe if it comes out. You know, the next Super Smash Brothers. But for me, it's not like I'm not guaranteed to go out and buy the next 3D Mario because I will say it now, and maybe some people take umbrage with this. Super Mario Galaxy is still far and away the best 3D Mario game. I'm sorry, Odyssey does not compare to Galaxy. And people can take issue with that all they want, but I still think Galaxy was the better 3D Mario. And I have to ask myself if 3D Mario has peaked because Galaxy was so damn good. But I guess we'll see whenever they announce another one. But I do think Star Fox gives Nintendo more of a selling point for the Switch too.
I think it helps, definitely.
It can't hurt. But I guess we should just be grateful that we're getting another Star Fox game after all these years.
Compared to remember last real Star Fox was Star Fox Zero, and a lot of people forget about that.
And also, like, I'm tired of hearing, well, we got a 3DS version. I don't care. Don't even use that as an example because, god dang, I want to play it on a TV, not on a fucking tiny ass screen. It's not a real version.
Tricky, any other thoughts before we move on?
No, because I honestly, and I know I'm going to get hate for this, I never cared about Star Fox. I always thought it was a shitty game. I understand the appeal for it, but to me, it was...
That's just ignorant.
Listen, I think the last Star Fox I played was probably on SNES.
So you mean the very first one?
Yeah. And I didn't see the appeal of it, didn't like it, and just never over the years gave a shit about it. I'm happy people are getting the game, don't get me wrong, but I just, me personally, I don't care about it.
Okay. Well, a lot of people are going to care about this next one because with all the changes going on at Microsoft, they've now come out and announced that Call of Duty will no longer release on last-gen consoles. And listen, it was only a matter of time because at some point they have to run and cut bait. And now this just means that Call of Duty, you're going to have a PS5 or an Xbox Series to play the latest ones. And obviously it won't be on Game Pass anymore, at least not for the first year. So people are going to have to be buying it. And, you know, to that point, it's important because these developers need to start focusing on things like leveraging the latest consoles instead of making their game compatible with older tech that may not be as prevalent in the wild anymore. So this sucks for people who haven't had the upgrade and maybe now might be forced to play their favorite game and paying a higher price for their consoles, as we've been talking about. So it's an interesting concept that, you know, now is the time that they're saying PS4, Xbox One, goodbye. We're now trying to make sure that you have to have the latest system to play the latest game. Tricky. Your thoughts? I know you're not big into Call of Duty.
No, I think this is a move by Microsoft to push, like you said, push people to new consoles. And like we've said on the show many times, I know me and Yield agree with this a lot, is I've always seen the problem with developing a game for two different generations is the newer generation always got the shaft when you got the games because when developing the games, you always had to develop for the lowest common denominator. So in this case, like Call of Duty, you know, if you're making a PS4 game or a PS5 game of the same game, I always felt like the 5 version was not going to be the best it could be because they had to develop for the 4 and then just ported it over to the 5 version. I don't think they were independently done. So I think this is Microsoft's way of saying, listen, you know, you got to get on the new systems. And this combined with the fact that they just lowered the price for Game Pass and they said that Call of Duty will not release day and date, I think this is their way of saying you want to play Call of Duty, not only do you have to get the new console, you're also going to have to pay for the game. So I think those two stories combined are related.
I mean, you weren't here when we were talking about it, but that they said with the Game Pass price lowering and the Call of Duty not being on Ultimate anymore, that Call of Duty sales did suffer
Yes.
And they believe it was due to Game Pass. So, this is their strategy to make Call of Duty great again. I think they need a lot more than that. I think they need to stop doing annual releases, but that's just my opinion. Alex?
Well, let me just, before I let Alex go, I also think they need to stop doing all these licensing in Warzone shit. Like, it's getting out of hand. Even, like, Fortnite, the same thing. Like, I get you want to put, like, characters in those games to make it more appealing, but some of this licensing is getting out of control. Yeah, Alex, I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I think that is a good point, Tricky. I think licensing in video games has gotten out of control, where it's become kind of a crutch, where people just lean on it to make their game more interesting, when otherwise people may want to move on or may want to go play something else. I I want to be understanding of people who own an Xbox One, but at the same time, at some point, Microsoft has to move on. Like, I'm not trying to defend the company here or stick up for Microsoft, but at some point, you got to move on. We have to move on from the older generations. And if you ask most people who use Game Pass if they would rather have cheaper Game Pass or if they would rather have Call of Duty on Game Pass, I think the majority of people would say they would have rather have cheaper Game Pass.
I think actually it'd be 50-50, honestly. Because Call of Duty players are that crazy. Same as Madden, same as, like, all the big name games. I honestly think it's more 50-50 than, or it's a lot closer together than you think.
Well, I guess I should say then that I hope that people would go that way. But, the Call of Duty servers, unless something has something's changed, they tend to keep the previous game servers online, because you do have people that still play those games. So even if you can't get the latest and greatest Call of Duty, there's likely going to be a Call of Duty you can play on Game Pass that still has servers up and will still have people playing. So there's likely going to be that option where if it comes, the latest Call of Duty on Game Pass will likely be there and will have the servers up when the new Call of Duty hits, and people can still play that. Maybe you want to play the latest and greatest, but if you want to play Call of Duty and not have to spend, you either have to spend the money or you can play an older version that's still up with servers. So, again, we always have to move to a new generation. At some point, you can't just rely on them putting all their games on 2 generations of consoles. And yeah, Call of Duty, I know, is the big fish or the big Twinkie they can dangle in front of people, but at some point we got to move on. And I think it's much more positive of a thing. The positives of Game Pass going down in price every month versus Call of Duty not being available. I think the good outweighs the bad in that. But that, I don't play Call of Duty, so.
Does anybody think this is a bad idea by Microsoft to make it not on last gen?
I don't. I think this is an interesting expectation that, if it's going to not be available, and let's say it sells poorly again, they can't lean on Game Pass. They can't lean on they'd have to lean on saying, well, it wasn't available on last gen consoles anymore, so we didn't sell as much. But that's their own personal budgeting and projections. They need to adjust that accordingly.
Well, and realistically, they can see who's playing which Call of Duty on what console. So, I mean, I remember back when they initially said they were going to shut down the PS3 store, and everybody spoke up, and there was a whole big wave of support for the PS3 store. They pushed it back, but eventually they still shut down the PS3 digital store. And so that happened regardless of whether people wanted it to happen or not. So eventually people in time will come to accept it.
Same thing happened with the Wii Shop, didn't it? Everybody was pissed off because they were shutting down the Wii Shop.
Nintendo shut it down anyways.
Oh, did they? I thought they kept it around for a little while.
Yeah, and again, even despite all the people that complained about the PS3, it still came and went and it shut down, so...
Wait, okay, hold on. Let me clarify something with the PS3 store. If I turned on my PS3, I can't access the PSN store off the 3 anymore? Because I believe
that's accurate.
I thought the story was that you couldn't buy PS3 games on the website, but if you were on a PS3 and went to the store, you could still get the games. I could be 100% wrong with this.
I think you could still download the games. I think you could still go to the store and download your purchases. You can't add to your wallet, and you can't buy new PS3 digital titles. I say new, 10 years old.
I'm Googling it right now because I'm actually curious because Yes. Yes, the PSN store is still active and accessible on the PS3 as of 2026, allowing you to browse, purchase, and download games, themes, and DLC. However, you cannot add funds directly on the PS3 console. You must add funds via the PS4, PS5, the PSN app, or the Sony website.
Okay, good to know. Not that
Oh,
I use it.
I thought they completely shut it down.
I
mean,
when you said it, you sounded correct, but something just triggered in my mind saying that if you were actually on the PS3 trying to get to the PSN store, I believed you could still buy games, PS3 games off the, but you had to be on the PS3. You couldn't be on the 4 or the 5 or the website. So,
well, no, wait, you just said you have to be on the 4 or the 5 to add funds to your wallet, right?
or the app, or you could do it off the PlayStation website. You can't add money on the PS3. But you can still go on there and buy the games if you have money in your PlayStation wallet.
Okay.
That just seems unnecessary. Who's doing that? Who's going to do the workaround of going onto their PS4 or PS5 to buy a game on the PS3?
I bet there are some people out there, like especially in the rarity contest, that are going back and playing PS3 games.
It might be, but that's just it. I don't know. The workaround makes it seem unnecessary.
I mean, I don't know anybody that still has their PS3 hooked up, but
Yeah, I mean, I still have my PS3. It's sitting, it's not hooked up, but it's sitting on a shelf in my room. But I think the last time I played it was when I was going for like eco trophies, 3 years ago. But I mean, it's tricky. You're right. Some people may be doing that, but the amount of people buying on the PS3, they might, to me, they ought to just shut it down. Like, I think they could just still allow you to download your games you've already bought, but there's no need to let people buy,
listen,
games.
I have no idea how much it would cost Sony to keep the PS3 store up, but if it's, I'm exaggerating, but if it's just pennies to keep that server up and allow people to access the games, why not let it roll?
Well, it's probably not that.
pennies.
Yeah, it's not pennies.
There's
a reason they shut things down, but
I said I'm exaggerating, but I'm just saying if it's barely costing them anything to keep it up, then I mean obviously they're not doing maintenance to it.
Well, obviously, don't they have to pay to have games on there? I don't know. There's got to be some kind of payment on there.
I don't know the details.
Yeah. Go ahead. It's the payment for the server. It's the licensing of these games. They still have to pay to be able to produce these games. It's maintaining a server isn't just saying, all right, those disks spin up. It's maintenance. It's patching. It's ensuring that it's secure. It's making sure that it's available 24/7, 365, just in case Tricky wants to go back and download a game he bought 15 years ago and wants to replay it. So it's not an insignificant cost. It isn't just like 1 or 2 servers. They have to maintain servers. They have to maintain backups. They have to maintain them in different geographical locations with redundancies in geographical locations. So it's not an insignificant fund. I know you said pennies as a
joke. I say it's a joke.
As a joke, but it probably costs them tens of thousands of dollars per month to keep these servers spun up. And that's not an insignificant fund.
Yeah, I mean, that's right.
I guess the question, though, is how would you go about shutting down the store if people are going and adding funds on their current generation console to their wallet and then spending that money turning on their PS3 and spending the money?
I mean, Sony would have to go in and see how many people are actually doing that. I mean,
you'd have to delist games, but then could you delist games and still allow people to download games they've purchased in the past?
Yeah, if you purchased it, you have the license for it. You should be able to always access it. And this is going to be a comment from Will in either our group chat or on Facebook. But this is going to be the argument: is that once they delist a game, you should always, once you purchase a game, you should always be able to download it. But once the license goes away, you can't download it anymore. They shut down the store. You can't download it anyway. This is going to be the argument for Will. This is why he wants to buy physicals, because he can still put a PS3, and as long as he has a disc, he can play the game.
Yeah, well,
Well, you
that's
got
not accurate in all scenarios because there's going to be games that require online checks. There's going to be games that have to be to phone in to verify something first. It's the reason why Stop Killing Games over in the UK is such a big movement because people are tired of these companies selling you something and then your money becomes worthless. Your product becomes worthless because they decide, well, we're just going to stop supporting this.
Oh, while we're on this topic, you guys talked about something last week that I wasn't here for, and I just quickly want to address it. You guys talked about the whole DRM thing after the 30-day check for the PSN.
Yeah.
It to me, I just want to add my comment that I think that's fine because what I think it is them saying, because essentially you could pre-order a game, okay, and then take your console offline and say, you know, keep it offline, and then the game unlocks on its release date, and then you have the game as long as you never put that system back online. But with Sony's policy, refund policy, because I just had to go through it, because they charged me for 2 PSN games, or PlayStation Plus games that they should not have charged me for, and then they wound up taking the license from me. Their policy is, if you buy a game, as long as you haven't downloaded it, played it, and it's within 14 days, you can get your money back. So the whole 30-day DRM thing, I think, works for Sony in the fact of it's ensuring that the game locks after 30 days, and that if you, in order to play it, you have to get your system back online, and then Sony will be able to say, no, we refunded this game, or we took this game out of your library for whatever reason, and that allows them to stop people from gaming the system, so to speak.
Yes, that's exactly what we talked about.
Okay. I couldn't remember exactly how you guys phrased it, but I think this works for Sony in the fact I don't know if this has always been the policy, but something tells me this has always been the policy, and it just came relevant when somebody happened to notice it one time.
Yeah. Alex, any more on the what the hell were we talking about? Call of Duty thing? No. Yeah, because it's time for us to move on.
Yeah.
All right. Next news article is Xbox no longer developing CoPilot for consoles. CoPilot, if you're not aware, is their AI version of things like ChatGPT or Grok, and it came under fire recently when they said they were developing it for the console, and everybody was afraid with Asha Sharma coming in, her history of AI, that she'd be forcing it, and it actually seems to be the opposite. So she put out a statement, say today she promoted a bunch of leaders to help build Xbox while also bringing in new voices to help push forward. And as part of the shift, you'll see us begin to retire features that don't align with where we're headed. We will begin winding down CoPilot on mobile, and we'll stop development of CoPilot on the console. I think this is a good move in the aspect of, like, yeah, people are saying we don't want this, and they're saying, okay.
Is Cortana still a part of the Xbox?
No, Cortana is basically becoming what CoPilot was.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is a good move. I don't see the need for this on a console. Maybe browsers, maybe your mobile, but there's no need for this on consoles.
Okay. Alex?
Yeah, I don't know if it's intentional, but a lot of the concerns that it feels like there was a lot of water gaining, the Microsoft's gaming boat, the Xbox boat was taking a lot of water, and it seems like they're trying to bail water out of that and trying to actively work to fight against people's concerns about Asha Sharma and the leadership change over at the games division. Do I think it's good? Well, I think less AI is a good thing. It seems like AI is trying to take over, and over reliance on AI is just, I don't think it's good. I think we need to find a sweet spot where we can take advantage of it, but it's not like everywhere and it part of everything because people can make money off it. I think that don't kill it off completely, but it doesn't need to be everywhere. It's kind of like, multiplayer gaming. Sometimes multiplayer gaming doesn't need to be in Dead Space, but it can be in Call of Duty. Something like that. So, yeah, whenever you say Call of Duty's reach is being restricted, or sorry, not Call of Duty, AI's reach is being restricted, I don't really have an issue with that. And it seems like the Microsoft is trying to somewhat repair the image of their gaming division, which behooves them, because unless they want to kill off the Xbox entirely and just, not have a piece of the gaming pie, they got some work to do.
Dex in the chat wants to know how much does it cost them to keep the servers up for Jumpin' Taco. You don't need servers for that.
Yeah, your own PS5s act as the servers for that.
Actually,
okay.
they don't even sell the games anymore, so I don't think they need servers.
So next is Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick reports in, and this comes from Jason Schreier and Bloomberg, basically saying that just don't be upset because he reports on shit that actually matters.
You think this matters?
I think it's a talking piece for us to talk about one of the biggest games of the year coming out. Yes.
You know what?
Do you think it matters?
I'll let you introduce it, but I'll tell you why this doesn't matter.
So basically, in the interview, Strauss Zelnick says in an interview with Bloomberg, basically his goal is to deliver consumers something that's never been experienced before. But with that comes, it's a high level of expectations, literally calling the expectations terrifying. And, that's something to say. Grand Theft Auto 6, billions of dollars spent to develop it. And a lot of people are anxiously awaiting it. It's been delayed a number of times. We've seen like one trailer for it. And, he talked about the window of console exclusivity, not related to the company's marketing deal with PlayStation. Historically, Rockstar has gone to console first. So it's a lot to say. You're spending $1 billion on a game. You think this is going to sell regardless. And he still says that it's a scary prospect putting out a game like this. So, Tricky, why does this not matter?
Because this is stupid. The article alone says some analysts have forecasted the new Grand Theft Auto will sell upwards of 25 million units on day one. There are many games that people have loved and appreciated and think they're the best games in the world that haven't even gotten 25 million copies sold at all. And I am so aggravated at the fact that we have to have conversations about, oh, this game failed because of expectations. This game is not successful because of expectations. I literally watched a video today by GamerRanks, and the title was 10 video game series, 10 video games, good games that failed expectations. And every single one of them on the list was like a landmark game. And they were like, oh, this one just didn't get enough marketing. This one just didn't. This one had one feature that everybody disliked, and those other stuff. Listen, Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to come out, and it's going to either be a horrible developed game, which I don't think is going to happen, but there's no way this game can live up to the hype that people have in their minds about it. Zero chance of that happening, because people love their Grand Theft Auto, and I'm sure the 6 is going to be a great game. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to play it. But there are going to be countless articles of people going, oh, this game doesn't do this, or this game didn't do that, or, oh, it's doing this, or it's doing that. There's no way you're going to live up to expectations. The same thing, like how many times was Duke Nukem Forever delayed? And people that played the game said it was a good game, but it was a failure because they couldn't live up to the hype. How many conversations have we had on this show alone where we were like, oh, the game didn't live up to the hype? The hype is in your mind, our individual minds. They need Rockstar needs to make Grand Theft Auto 6 the best game they can make it, and stop worrying about what people's expectations are. They are good quality developers. They make good games. Grand Theft Auto 5 is the second best selling game of all time. only behind Minecraft. There's no way they're going to live up to expectations. Stop worrying about it. This doesn't need to be an article. This is just stupid for somebody to go, whoa, I don't think we can live up to expectations. Make your damn game and shut the F up.
You seem very upset about this.
I listen. This pisses me off because it's the same thing that I don't know. What's that one game that you talk about that's in pre-alpha was selling like I don't know if it was $1,000 or $10,000. Yeah, there's no way that game could live up to the hype of what you want it to be. And I'm not calling you out. I'm saying there's no way that game is going to live up to the hype. Stop doing this.
People have been dumping tens of thousands of millions of dollars into that game. Here is a game that they've been developing for so many years, and it's not just expectations of what the game they want to be. What if there's games that is buggy, it's broken? A game this massive inevitably is going to have a game-breaking bug, and that's something that's going to affect them. That's going to affect their stocks. It's going to affect their development cycles. It's going to affect their dev teams.
But
so it's still a conversation that needs to happen.
But okay, so my understanding is he's worried about the expectations of the audience acclaim of Grand Theft Auto 6. The bugs and all that stuff, that's on you. If you have to delay this game because you found a game-breaking bug, then delay the game. At this point, you delayed it, 2-3 times? Delay the game till you have it to the state you want. Because what's that little quote? A good game, what is it? A bad game is broken forever, or a bad game is what? I don't remember the quote. You have the ability.
You're referring to a Shigeru Miyamoto quote.
Yes, I couldn't remember his name, but the whole thing is you have the power to make this game release in the state that you want it to release it in. You've spent, I think the rumor is $2 billion developing this game. Take the time, hire the best Q&A department you got, have them go through this game with a fine-tooth comb, and stop worrying about what your people are going to think of the game. Because just like Call of Duty, just like Madden, Grand Theft Auto is going to be purchased numerous times, if not millions of times, by the people that love the series. Stop worrying about expectations and just make the damn game. I'm off my soapbox.
Alex, do you have a soapbox?
No, nothing like Tricky's. I mean, I can understand on one hand where the quote is coming from. I mean, the expectations for Grand Theft Auto, you would think after 3 and Vice City and San Andreas 4, like how the series is blown up. And I'm sure that people's expectations, especially when, one, it takes you forever to get it out, when they've heard how much money you're spending on it, and potential, depending on how much you sell it for, if you sell it to them for $100, well, yeah, the retail cost, the MSRP of a game can certainly lead to higher expectations, because if I pay $20 for a game, I can tell you that my expectations are a little bit lower than for a $70 game. So, I mean, in part, Rockstar Games and Zelnick are feeding into that own fear of what the expectations are. When it comes to Grand Theft Auto, to me, the life of this game, the lifespan of this game, which is extended far beyond, I think, what anyone would have guessed. Multiple generations of consoles. As Matt said, the second best selling game of all time.
I said that.
Tricky said it. It's not in the story. It's not in the single player. No one's sat here and played the single player that long. People just enjoy, it's the multiplayer. People enjoy fucking around in an open world sandbox where they can go shoot military vehicles with rocket launchers, or they can drive up their star rating, have the military and police come after them, and they can climb up on a building and shoot rocket launchers on the unsuspecting public from up there. Point is, it's a sandbox, and it's the ultimate sandbox people get to play in. So regardless of what the expectations are, as long as the game is playable and people can just run around with weapons and just cause havoc, it very much seems like people will be happy with the game. I don't think the story mode I think honestly, people put more stock in like the radio stations and the songs that are in Grand Theft Auto than the actual story mode. Like I remember like from playing, Vice City, what I remember is being able to buy the properties, what the town looked like, the city looked like at night, driving through, the radio, how much I enjoyed listening to songs. The only thing I remember about the story is the turn at the end when your buddy turns on you and you got to kill him. But I like honestly was that the last dance for Lance fans. But like the rest of the story, that's not what impacted me about Grand Theft Auto. So honestly, like what he's worried about, on one hand, I can understand it because Grand Theft Auto has become like this thing that's just on a pedestal above everything else. But on the other hand, it's like the reason people enjoy your game and play it for so long and so many hours is because like just the whole running around fucking off part. And you can easily give them a sandbox to play in like that. So, I mean, yeah, I think it'll sell well. I think people will enjoy it, but I think it should be honestly easy to make Grand Theft Auto has the formula. They've got the formula down, so as long as they just kind of do that again, people will be fine with it.
See, even in the article, it says some analysts forecasted the new Grand Theft Auto will sell upwards of 25 million units on day one. This means selling 10 million units, a miraculous figure for most Grand Theft Auto competitors, which could be considered disastrous for this game. I mean, Matt, before you go on to what you got to say about this, I'll just ask this. If Grand Theft Auto 6 sells 10 million copies on day one, are either one of you ever going to consider this a failure?
They sell 10 million copies of day one, and it's a game-breaking bug, and they stop selling games. Yeah, could be considered a failure.
All right.
I mean, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, but I mean, in part, a lot of what has happened with, like, a lot of Zelnick's concern or whatever he seems to have is what his own company, the publisher and the developers have fed into it. Grand Theft Auto, you had this big mega successful game. I get it, but you're the ones that have built on it, and you all are the ones that have made it, this massive city to play in. So, the fact that it's costing this much money and this many years to develop, and the fact that you may have to charge people more for this game, that's all in your own doing. So you guys are a victim of your own success, I guess, is maybe what he's hinting at. But again, the game is going to be uber successful, most likely. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with his comments. I don't have a problem with the article. A lot of what we get in video game news is not news because it's just impossible to have some earth-shattering news all the time. But I think, honestly, the concerns are like, what does Strauss Zelnick have to be worried about? He's probably made enough money. He's an older guy, so it's not like he's got like another 30 years to worry about when it comes to being in the workforce. So it's like the worst thing happens is Grand Theft Auto fails, you get fired. But how much money does Strauss Zelnick have in his life? I don't know. Part of me can understand it, but also part of me is like, it's Grand Theft Auto. How do you fuck it up at this point?
But also, Zelnick is the CEO of Take-Two. He's not even like... Now, Take-Two owns Rockstar, don't get me wrong, but he's got other games to worry about.
He does, and honestly, those games probably cost a lot less to make, but they're probably more of a concern because they're not Grand Theft Auto.
I don't know, Matt. I kind of cut you off.
I have nothing else to say about this.
Dex 2 says Mafia 2 remastered. All right. So we're...
Back to you, Tricky, for our questions of the week.
Oh, I'm doing the questions? Okay.
You're doing the questions.
Time to check my social media, yeah.
That was a little louder than normal. Okay. So Matt put a topic or post in our Facebook group. If you want to go leave us questions, go join our Facebook group, and you can ask us questions in our weekly post before we record the show. So I'm going to start with the question I posted. It says conversations online have picked picked up around game pricing recently, with many players claiming $70 is too expensive for a game that only delivers around a 20-hour story. One of the main examples is being mentioned is 007 First Light, which is priced at $70 for the standard edition. Critics argue the limited campaign length doesn't match the cost, questioning its value. What are your thoughts? Matt, we'll go to you first.
I think price does play a factor into games these days. You know, something like Resident Evil Requiem was $70, but you know, a 12 to 14 hour campaign. However, the replayability is there, so maybe extends further. Mouse PI sold at what was that, Alex? $50, $40, something like that.
It's 30.
30. And it comes with like a 10-hour campaign. It depends on the player's enjoyment.
I think it's longer than that. I'd say it's closer to 15.
Okay, so another 5 hours, good. You know, you could look at it as $1 per hour, or you know, what's the total package you've got. I think game price is hotly contested these days. You see Nintendo now having a different strategy for physical versus digital. You see games coming out for not the typical $70 price. You know, Helldivers launched at $40. Then you've got, you know, something like Crimson Desert, which launched at 70. On the inverse, are the devs supposed to be charging more for these 100-hour open world games like that? This can go both ways. If people are saying that $70 is too expensive, okay, well then maybe you need to be charged $100 or $150 for a game that gives you, you know, 200 hours of content. So I think it's up to each developer, and it's up to each individual gamer on what they think they want to spend. But I definitely think that, you know, the average length of time that it takes to beat a game, it should be taken into consideration when you're making the purchase. It's up to the dev on what they want to spend or what they want to say it's worth.
All right, we got Dex, Pinball, and Dupes in the chat. Give me your answers to your answer while we go to Alex. Alex, is $70 too expensive for a game that only delivers a 20-hour story?
Well, you realize why this game is different, right? Than some of the other games we, you know, would buy for $70, or a game that we buy for $40.
I don't know much about 007 First Light, so.
Well, you know enough. You just said it.
This is what people were saying, that one of the main examples is that First Light. I'm assuming that First Light probably doesn't have a multiplayer.
You have to pay for the 007 license.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
So naturally, it's going to be more expensive to make the game. So there may be an instance where the game itself may be like, say it's this license, maybe an amount of content you think is cheaper, but because you're playing a 007 game, you have to pay more because the developers have to pay for that license. I mean, for 20 hours, $70, I mean, I'm sure there's games that we have played. I mean, you can go to the argument, do you play a game, do you feel great about playing a game for 100 hours where there's actually just 50 hours of content, or 40 hours? It's just a lot of padding, or, you know, going to double check for collectibles. You know, I think we've all bought a game for $70, $60, whatever, that was 20 hours or less. You know, it's sometimes, you know, a story can only be told for so long. A game can actually be only so long. I'm not going to say that I would say, oh yeah, like a 20-hour game isn't worth, you know, $70, because even if it was $80, what, that's $4 an hour? I mean, entertainment-wise, you think about how much money you spend on a movie, you know. We just bought movie tickets today for the Masters of the Universe movie, and each ticket was $40 or $20. So a movie that's probably, what, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, like, how much you spend on there for your entertainment value. So, but I also, again, think the license of 007 throws a monkey wrench in, because you know, that's naturally you're going to have to pay for that, you know. Same with, like, if you had to pay for the Batman license.
I just looked it up. There's actually no multiplayer part of First Light at all. But I mean, taking out the James Bond license, like, do you feel like you're paying too much for only 20 hours in a game? I mean, the argument could be made that $70 for, like, Final Fantasy, which is like a 100-hour RPG. I mean, I know you don't play those games, Alice, but when you look at if I'm spending $70 and I can play an RPG for 100 hours, or I'm paying $70 and I can only play for 20 hours, I mean, there is an argument to be made there.
I mean, everyone's perspective is different. And me personally, is there a game that I could see myself paying $70 for and having 20 hours of content and being satisfied? I can see that. Yes. I'm not going to say that every game that's 20 hours can't be $70. You're talking to a guy who loves Shadow of the Colossus, which is essentially 16 boss fights. And how much did I spend on that game? Was it like $50 or $60 when it came to the PS4? So I don't know. It kind of depends on the game. But also I would refer you to, again, as much as I have enjoyed some of the Assassin's Creed games, a lot of the Assassin's Creed games are fucking padding. And you can spend, like, you know, if you're going for the Platinum Trophy, you could spend 50 or more hours in those games. You know, Ghost of Yotei, I ended up topped out at I think about 100 hours after I included the multiplayer and 2 runs of the game. You know, so how much content you can say, like, oh yeah, I paid $70 for this game and I got 100 hours of content. How much of new content did you get, or is it just some of the same content again and again?
I mean, you look at how much I play the Division. You know, I've paid $60 for the Division 2, and I've gotten over 3,000 hours out of that game, and I still play it. So, I mean, I think the argument can be made that, you know, paying the same price for a game that is 20 hours and a game that's 100 hours, I think there's an argument to be made there, but I think I also agree with Matt. It's like, are you enjoying playing the game? Because if you get just as much enjoyment as playing that 20-hour story that you do a 100-hour story, then to me, it's worth every penny that you paid for it. From the chat, Dex says, mate, we pay up to $124 here, but if you feel satisfied by the experience, I'm okay with it. Soros right now is $124.95. That's Australian, so I don't know what the conversion would be. And 007 is $99.95. I guess that's the conversion as well. So, I mean, Dex, don't take what I'm about to say wrong, but your prices are inflated because you're in Australia. Oh, he says he paid.
You son of a bitch! How dare you say that?
He says he paid $6 for the Division 2 and sunk over 100 hours into it, and then he goes, "Fuck you." I didn't mean it meanly. I meant like you tend to pay a lot more than we pay. Yeah,
I think when it comes to this argument or the logic surrounding this topic, it's not just simply an answer of how long is the game. It's got to be what the game is and how much you enjoy it. Because maybe you don't enjoy, or you don't think that every 20-hour game you play is worth $70. But sometimes there's that game that maybe 15 hours and it's $70 and you love the shit out of it. There's just too many factors that go into making a game, the cost of a game, and your own personal enjoyment of a game to just say a 20-hour game is not worth $70. Because again, I will say, per hour of content, it's cheaper than going to see a movie. So how long does a movie have to be if you're paying $20 a ticket?
How much is Soros right now on the PSN? $70?
It's $70.
Okay, so Dex is saying Soros right now on the PSN for him is $124.95. I just did the conversion. That's $90, where the $99.95 is $72 for us. He says the Order 1886. He loved the game, and our game. Loved it I guess he's saying he loved every hour of that game. That's a game that should have gotten a sequel, by the way. I like that game.
Sony owns it.
Yeah, but I think the studio that developed it is now gone?
It was Ready at Dawn. Ready at Dawn is gone.
Yeah. All right, next question, and this is just for you two, because apparently I don't get a choice to answer this one. Zach wants to know.
They probably figured you wouldn't be here.
Zach wants to know, what would the not founders, that'd be Matt and Alex, rebrand the show as, and would you make it more successful? This is based off of Matt's post saying that questions is, where's Tricky been? Why does Tricky let Matt and Alex run the show now? Or when it Matt, when is Matt going to rename the show from Trophy Wars to something more appropriate? So, based on that lead up, Zach wants to know if you two were to take over the show, how would you rebrand it and how would you make it more successful?
Well, first of all, Matt, I would like to suggest a name. We'll just call it Grinelli Gaming, and I would be part of the Grinelli takeover. And yeah, I don't know. I haven't put enough thought into this, but I mean, I'm sure that the format we were doing now would be the same format as every other video game podcast has ever done. You talk a little bit about the news, you talk about some of the games you're playing, like yeah, I don't know. I get you would have to go back all these years and figure out a way to, because at this point, you know, Proven Gamer was started and had articles and a podcast, and now it's pretty much just the podcast. So you would have to go back in time. It's like, okay, do we do articles? Do we have a writing staff? How do we separate the podcast? So the only suggestion I can give you right now is that Grinelli Gaming is a damn good name for a strong name for a podcast. Matt, don't you agree?
I think, you know, I don't want to be that vain because at some point when I move on to the big podcast in the sky, I don't want the podcast to die. I want it to be as strong as Tricky has done this running for X number of years. I haven't done the math either. So I don't know. I think starting it off with the anti-achievement squad or anti-trophy squad, just to bring some balance to the way that it's been run for the past decade or 12 years or so. But
15 years.
I think, see, I was close. So I think everything, like when I listen to podcasts, I think about what I want to hear and what as a gamer, like what does it mean to me to listen to other people talking about games? I think talking about reviews is a big thing. I think talking about some news, that's why you've seen as Tricky has given me the reins on the news, I kind of run it in a little more streamlined fashion than what's been done in the past.
I even let them branch out to non-PlayStation stories.
I would ban all wrestling talk forever. And I'm actually proud. We haven't had wrestling talk in a while. It's an invitation.
And we just passed WrestleMania too. We didn't even talk about it.
I would probably mostly ban sports talk. You know, again, it's a gathering of friends talking about video games. I don't know. I don't think I'd do anything significantly different. I just think it would be more streamlined, maybe shorter. You know, shorter is always not bad.
Dex in the chat says, "Oh, Alex, this is like when Scott Steiner joined the NWO." So there's wrestling reference today. And I guess this is for you, Matt. He goes, "And no IGN stories."
Yeah, well, I try to do that as much as I can, Dex, because IGN, you can't spell ignorant without IGN.
If anyone wants a good laugh, go read the comments on the Mouse PI review at IGN.
Yeah, I've been hearing about that.
There's a mix of, you know, a lot of times you'll see some positive thrown in there. It's just everybody in the comments piling on that reviewer. And I'm sorry, but that reviewer fucking deserves it. But it's, I don't know, like one of the things I might suggest is like doing a podcast, like, you know, 2 a week, like, but shorter episodes, like under an hour. And then like maybe release one later in the week. I don't know. I've always wanted to, because I listen to a bunch of podcasts, I've always wanted to keep the podcast in check, like not put a, you know, throw a bucket of water on good conversation, but at the same time, like respect people's time and like, you know, keep it to an hour and a half under, you know, under an hour and a half. But I, you know, if you could find a way to do, you know, 2 podcasts a week, just shorter podcasts, like give people, you know, on different, you know, something to listen to on different days. I mean, it might not be a bad idea, but I think really just finding a segment that's, and we've tried to do it. I mean, Sophie's Trophies is kind of that segment for us, but you know, and Gareth and the rarity event and yield reading off that stuff kind of, you know, separates us a little, but trying to separate with a segment. I think at one point I suggested doing the PlayStation Plus wish list, where we would talk about games we would hope would come to PlayStation Plus one day. But there's never been really segments that I think that will be stuck to, aside from Sophie's Trophies, that has really separated us from most other gaming consoles. And I think that, you know, that'd be one thing I would try to rack my brain and start from the start, is just something that makes us a little different. beside our own opinions and Tricky's fucking cooking style.
Hey, we're not going there again. Listen, I know this was headed for those. I kind of like Alex's idea of doing the 2 podcasts a week thing. The problem is that, one, we'd have to get our schedules to all line up, which is always a problem, regardless of what day it is. We've changed the recording date, I think, 3 different times, Alex, since you've been on the show.
Well, the problem is that you can only really record on one night until you retire.
Well, I can record every night. The problem is that my work schedule changes, like, daily. Like, I don't find out what I'm working tomorrow until 2 o'clock the day or 1 o'clock the day before. So, like, tomorrow I go to work at 5 a.m., but there's a chance that always that I have to literally record the show, hang up with you guys, and go to work at 11 o'clock at night. So that's always a problem. But I can record any night of the week. The problem is that if we do 2 shows a week, like right now, a little behind the scenes for everybody, we record the show Sunday night, and then the 3 of us, we all rotate who edits the show. So this week I'm doing it, and then the show doesn't come out until Wednesday. But if we're doing 2 shows a week, the editing schedule is going to get shorter, which means it's going to put pressure on Alex and Matt, so to speak, to get the show and then have it out in the next day or so. And sometimes we need the extra day because we got stuff going on in our own lives. So we can't get the edit out as quick. Alex, and I'm not throwing him under the bus, there's a lot of times Alex doesn't get done with the edit until Tuesday night, 9, 10 o'clock at night, and I'm already in bed by then. Dupes in the chat says, shorter show, less to edit. Yes and no, because yes, it's less time for us, less audio for us to go through, but like our editing styles are different. Like Alex edits completely different from the way I edit, and Matt edits a completely different way than either one of us edit. So it depends on the thing. It also depends on, do we have to go in and fix somebody's audio? Is there background noise? Whatever the case may be. So it's not as simple as going, hey, we're going to get together on Tuesdays and Sundays and record, and we'll have the show out in the next day or 2. But the problem that I've always had with the show, which, is just a common problem with podcasting, is a lot of times, like, we're recording the show now, it's Sunday. A news story would come out tomorrow, and then you won't hear about it from us for a week and a half because we won't talk about that topic until the following Sunday. And then by the show that comes out, time the show comes out, it's Wednesday. So a news story could drop tomorrow, and you don't hear us talk about it for a week and a half. So that's why I do like the idea of doing 2 podcasts a week. It's just timing, the editing, and a lot of behind the scenes stuff that you guys don't really, like, the audience really doesn't know about. Dex wants to know, why not run a second show called Cooking with Tricky? Because nobody would listen to that.
Because he'd be sued after someone died from following his cooking.
Yeah. I give myself food poisoning. I'm not going to give somebody else food poisoning. Matt, you want to add anything to this? Because I know, like, you just joined the show, like, what, a year or 2 ago? How long have you been on the show now? 2 years?
I've been on since the mid 500, so...
That's, oh, damn, then you've been on...
time now.
You've been on for 4 years, then. Wow. Yeah, so it's, like, you just got into... I don't know. Did you ever do a podcast before this one?
I mean, obviously, I was kind of in and out of Daryl's Loop Brothers.
Right.
Officially.
But you weren't doing the edit and all the behind the scenes with that, were you?
No.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're coming up on 4 years of this show and editing. I mean, am I saying anything way off base, or...
No, I mean, here's my thing. I have to come to the grips that, like, Sundays are a thing for me. I have a very set schedule on Sundays. It's a matter of, all right, get up, take care of the house, go food shopping, come back, make dinner, and then I have to, like, settle in for the night. I got to get ready to podcast, and that's 2.5 hours, sometimes 3 of my Sunday nights that I could be doing other things as well, playing games or doing chores or getting stuff done. And to even make it shorter and then try to figure that out 2 nights a week, I know it seems weird to say this, but I have to be in the right headspace to podcast, and weeknights after work are not a headspace for me to be podcasting. You're not going to get good work out of me. So, the idea of doing shorter shows with, increasing the frequency, I think to me that doesn't work, at least at my level. So I don't know. It's a concept. How do we make the show better? It depends on what you folks want. You tell us, because I can come up with the ideas, but if you don't listen to it, I can't help you.
Like what? And I'll just give you a little bit more behind the scenes. Like there's been an ongoing discussion within the guys. Like they want shorter shows. Maybe an hour, hour and a half. And I've always argued with them. And I saying argue with quotation marks here. I've always argued with them that like I'd love to do shorter shows, but I'm a big component of, hey, we're in a conversation. And as long as that conversation is not going in circles and we're having a productive conversation and it's a good conversation, I absolutely hate cutting those off. Alex, if he had his way, the show would be an hour and a half every week, Alex?
I'd say that's fair. I mean, again, we all do have the things we need to do in life. And believe it or not, like editing does take up a good chunk of time. Like it's not like, again, you think, oh, it's only like a 2-hour show, but that's like 6 hours of raw audio. It's 3 tracks. So,
and then when Yield's here, that's 8 hours of tracks for Alex. So I mean, yeah, he's already dedicating 2.5 hours to the show between the prep, the whatnot, and then he's on his weeks he's doing another 6 to 8 hours of editing.
Well, I'll give you a small like. If you're exporting and like because of the file sizes, as they get bigger, it takes longer to export and to save audio. Like there are times when I'm exporting the audio to, try to mash all the stuff together for the show where it takes like 20 minutes to a half an hour. No joke. And so that's just another chunk of time. Now I can go do something. Sometimes if it's really going to take half an hour, it's like, okay, I'll go take a shower and work around that. But the editing process takes a lot longer than people might think. And I'm not saying we should go to shorter shows and do 2 a week now. I think that's something we would have to have established and have the right crew and have the right work schedules. But, it's not that I don't want to give people more content. It's just the amount of time on the back end it takes to actually produce the show is a lot longer than you might think.
And not that this is a cop-out, but that's part of the reason why we haven't put out Patreon content in a while. It's because it's so hard.
We're old and tired.
It's so hard to get, one, we gotta get a topic, then we gotta find out who wants to be on the show, then we have to get everybody scheduled down.
I'll give it to you this. I was trying to get a Patreon topic going. I've been speaking with Daryl. I was speaking with Joe, and evidently a mystery guest, that we wanted to do a Resident Evil 9 Requiem deep dive. And, Daryl and I finished the game within like 2 weeks. Joe took an extra 2 weeks on top of that. Then Daryl went on vacation. Then Daryl's special guest isn't lined up for next week. And here we are sitting in mid-May going, all right, are we even going to still do this? Is it even going to be relevant anymore? Like it's so difficult to do something like that when you've got working adults that have so many other priorities.
Yeah. I mean, Daryl messaged me last week when I was on vacation. He says, oh, my Sunday schedule's opened up. I can, start coming on the show more. And I'm like, that's great. And then I reached out to him today. He's like, hey, you want to record? He's like, no, I took the wife on a surprise Mother's Day thing. It's like, oh shit, I didn't even realize it was Mother's Day. Like that's just part of the behind the scenes. It just, we'd love to give you guys more content, but a lot of the things you guys don't realize, and I say you guys in the audience, you guys don't realize how much work goes into this sometimes. Matt, also, Matt, how long does it take you to put it together the agenda every week? An hour, hour and a half every day, every Sunday?
No. When I stopped adding show notes, I could do the agenda in 10 minutes.
Okay.
That's when when I'm off the show and I try to keep, sorry, Tricky, when you read the articles, I put show notes to kind of summarize it. And that takes me a bit longer because, editorializing content and briefing it and summarizing is what I do. So yeah, that will take me much longer.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things is now, like one of the ways we made shorter for time is I used to do the agendas, and then Matt would go in and summarize everything. And, he had to wait until I was done, and then I had to wait until he was done. Then I had to go in and read all his notes. So when I'm hosting, I knew, like, the flow and things ahead of time. So, like, there is so much stuff that you guys don't realize happens behind the scenes. And that's a good thing, but, just know that when you guys get the show every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, there's a lot of work that went behind it. Not only do they edit the show, every week I do the social medias, I get the YouTube up, we got to reach out to Will for the graphics. We got to wait for Alice to give Will the show title, which sometimes takes a little longer than expected.
It's within 24 to 36 hours.
And that all said, we have now been talking about this for 20, 30 minutes.
Right.
And we still have a topic of the week to get to, guys.
So let's do the topic of the week.
So yeah, about cutting down those episode times. Toe. Topic of the week. Well, fine then. Fuck you, Matt.
The one thing I'll say before that, because Matt just pointed out, is like, that's the kind of conversation. Like, we're having a good conversation. I hate cutting those short, but we have to because we have to get to the topic of the week, and we've been recording.
Well, we were also talking in circles. Let's be real.
Yeah, and the show is approaching 2 hours right now, so.
And that's why I'm here to move this shit along.
Go ahead, Matt.
So this comes from Kotaku, written by Ethan Gash. Title is Sony records new $560 million loss on Bungie acquisition as Marathon struggles and Destiny 2 nosedives. So basically it talks about how back in 2022, Sony purchased Bungie for $3.6 billion on the eve of Destiny 2's best expansion ever. The company pointed to recording of impairment losses against Bungie Inc.'s intangible and other assets. That's just basically saying that they lost money on Bungie's net worth. So, recorded nearly a loss of $765 million for the entire year on the Bungie deal, and the possibility of additional losses from the acquisition in fiscal year 2026. Basically, it talks about how Marathon's doing, what's going on with Destiny 2. I actually looked it up this morning. Marathon has it was about 5,000 concurrent players, and I looked at Arc Raiders, and Arc Raiders was 50,000 concurrent as of this morning. Like, it's crazy to think that Arc, despite its own misgivings and problems, people are starting to become a little bored with it. Marathon has just dropped off significantly. And I think that's a problem with these live service games, because you look at these things and go, well, Marathon is either replacing people's Destiny 2 habits, or it's cannibalizing Destiny 2, or is Bungie truly expecting people to balance two hefty style loot games? It's difficult to say. But Marathon was only $40, and it's got some content drip coming. But I struggle to say, like, the game came out officially, a little over 2 months ago, and it's only at 5,000 players per day. Like, I
mean, that's not good. And I think the reason, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but the reason you mentioned Arc Raiders is because Marathon's an extraction shooter as well, right?
Correct. And just to show, and Arc's been out for months, and it's still kind of doing gangbusters on concurrent players. I mean, you look, Helldivers, there's been a lot of upheaval in the community, people not happy, being very vocal about not being happy with Arrowhead.
It actually has more negative reviews on Steam now than positive
people are not
reviews.
happy that all the updates are paid war bonds, and they're not doing ship upgrades, and they're not doing, like, basically half of their currencies, requisition slips, and samples are completely fucking useless in the game. If you're going to run a game for more than 2 years, you should probably make sure that half your currencies aren't useless. But people are pissed that the updates that we're getting are basically just paid war bonds and nothing else. Now, Arrowhead has said they're going to fix that, and they're going to offer more updates to, like, the ship and stuff. in the summer or maybe down the road. But basically, Helldivers 2, with all of the upheaval and with the fact that, or maybe I should say community unrest, and with the fact that it's now a 2-year-old game, a 2-year-old plus game, 3 months on top of that, still regularly gets 50,000 people playing it a night.
Matt, can you look up how many people playing
That's
Helldivers?
10 times what Marathon is doing right now.
I just pulled up all three. Marathon right now is at 10,000. And again, folks, this is Steam. I can't speak for what is on PSN. Marathon is currently at 10,000 players on Steam. Helldivers is at 34,000, and Arc Raiders is at 78,000.
Dex says he's I am, so you can count me in.
Nice.
All right. Now, I'm not defending Bungie here, but hasn't both Destinies basically started off slow and then they caught steam later? No pun intended. Didn't they both start off very, very like troubling, and then as they release content? I mean, isn't this basically how Bungie releases their games?
It depends, because original Destiny was bad up until the Taken King. Destiny 2 was pretty good at the start and then fell off after the first 2 or 3 DLCs. Then it picked up again. Destiny 2 has been a very roller coaster type of game. But I just checked Destiny 2's Steam charts, 10,000 people playing. So it's between their 2 games, they still don't match what Arc Raiders has got going on.
I don't know. Like I don't want to defend Bungie here, but I think people are just pulling the failure card way too quick on this. I'm not defending Bungie. I think they got their own problems. I mean, didn't they just fire their CEO? Or Sony fired their CEO?
Well,
Pete Parsons left a little while ago. Yeah, he's been gone for a bit.
Yeah. So
I don't. Is it too soon to pull the failure card? Yes. But I also think it's an interesting peek into the future, because I look at this and I go, if Marathon isn't getting a growing player count and it's only descending, its all-time peak was 88,000, and that was around launch.
which game was this? I'm sorry.
Marathon.
Okay.
It's disappointing to say that I don't think Bungie knows how to run a live service. I mean, I think Destiny's been held up with popsicle sticks and glue. I think Marathon, even though Marathon has good ratings, over 48,000 reviews, it's rated 83%. So people like it. I just think maybe there isn't enough there to keep people's attention.
I mean, that is possibly. I'm looking up the ratings on the PSN store.
I mean, with that concurrent player base, with a game that just came out not too long ago, I mean, clearly, we're used to the online community starts playing one multiplayer game, and then when something new comes out that tickles their fancy, they move to that. That has not happened with the extraction shooters. You expect over time for audiences to wane and ebb and people leave and go do something else. But when Helldivers is multiple times, 6 times your current player count, and Arc Raiders is kicking your ass too by even a larger amount, and you're at 5,000 in your Marathon, and your Bungie, you're a proven developer, you had Destiny has more concurrent players in your new game, that's a problem. That's like red flags and alarms all over the place, because that does not suggest that at any point Marathon will ever be successful.
Well, right now, Marathon on the PSN store, out of 11,000 ratings, they're at a 4.5 out of 5 stars.
So take that into consideration when you're thinking about how many people are active. If Steam has 48,000 reviews and the PSN store has how many?
11,000.
That's a drastic difference in the number of people willing to actually leave reviews.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, I think ratings on the PSN store because I've never left a rating on the PSN store. To be fair, I don't think I've ever left one on Steam either. But I also think people are less inclined to leave reviews on the PSN store than they would be Steam.
Dex, I don't know. Dex asked, wasn't that including copies sold when it was free to play? I don't know.
He said I'd be interested in seeing Destiny 2's revenue since release,
Yes,
including copies sold when it wasn't free to play. Yeah,
and you got to remember, Destiny 2 went from Battle.net to Steam to some. I don't know if it was on its own launcher for a while, but the problem with Destiny 2 was they had a good plan in place, and unfortunately FOMO turned a lot of people off to the game. And after Sony bought them, again, a lot of people, I think Tricky and Daryl, were saying they were buying them for their expertise in free to play and first person shooters. But it seems like that gamble hasn't paid off. It seems like Jimmy Ryan made a big old bad purchase, because you don't lose $500 million and say, oh, well, them's the breaks. And yet Sony's shutting down all these other studios, and Bungie still gets to do what they do. I don't know. It's to Alex's point with Helldivers, maybe it's time to stop the war. Maybe with Bungie, it's time to shut down Destiny 2. Is it truly making them enough money to keep those things running, to keep everybody employed? It's something seems off.
All right, so I just looked up Bungie on Wikipedia. Bungie's been around since May of 91, and they went to Microsoft Studios in 2000, were there until 2007, and then Sony bought them in 2022. So that's 15 years that they were independent. But I if I remember correctly, weren't they published or owned by Activision for a while?
Yes. Yeah, because after they left Microsoft, they went to Activision. They were an Activision Blizzard store.
Oh, it was a 10-year publishing deal with Activision in April of 2010. And that's when they first came out with Destiny in 2014, which was followed by Destiny 2 in 2017. So, and then Bungie announced it was ending the partnership in January of 19 and would take over publishing for Destiny. And then 3 years later, they were purchased by Sony. I don't know. I think it's somewhat telling that Bungie's been around so much. They were with Microsoft, then they were independent, then they were with Activision, now they're with Sony. And still the fact that Bungie is not a PlayStation studio is still weird to me. They're independent, but they're also owned by Sony, but they're not PlayStation Studios studio. I don't know. It's so
maybe
weird.
That's why they can't get shut down as easily.
I don't know.
To
To me, it's weird.
It doesn't add up. And I look at this and I say, well, any other company would be shut down, but there's a saying with how much Bungie has jumped around and things going on. There's a saying I like to say: if there's a fire in every room you go to, maybe you are the one holding the match. And Destiny 2 hasn't been the same for years. I think they had one really good DLC in the last 2 or 3 years, and since then it's just kind of been middling. I don't think they have a direction anymore. The story is so convoluted, nobody can jump in. And there was the controversy that they vaulted content people had paid for. So people are hesitant to jump in. Maybe people are hesitant to jump into Marathon because they're like, well, Bungie's already proven that they take away stuff that we pay for. Why do I want to actually pay into something else with them?
Did Bungie do anything with Star Wars?
No.
Because I'm on Bungie.net, and they have a Star Wars and 2024 Lucasfilm Limited, all rights reserved on here. But I don't see anything with Star Wars. Destiny 2 has something across with Star Wars?
Not to my knowledge. I haven't followed the game in years.
Alex, did it ring any bell to you?
No, not to me.
Okay. I was just more curious. Um, yeah, this whole thing is just really weird. And uh, until you explained it, I was trying to figure out how they could say that they've got a $560 million loss when they purchased a company for 3.6 billion, right? Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So they're saying their $560 million loss is because Bungie's stock went down.
No, it's like a material loss. It's kind of like it's financial speak. All you can assume is that if it were different, they wouldn't have taken a $560 million hit to their bottom line.
All right. I mean, I don't know what else to say about this. Like, I
It's just, I think it's disappointing. I think it's for some reason Sony is still backing Bungie the way that they are, and other studios are paying for it.
do you think Sony should shut down Bungie and
I
merge?
absolutely think they should shut them down.
And-
They've proven that they were not a good buy.
Okay.
Right there, black and white.
I mean,
Lost them.
I stand by my thing that I think they purchased them. Well, I think Jimmy Ryan made the argument to purchase them so they can get their live service games going up, and now that the live service system is blown out the water, I don't see a reason for Sony to keep hold on to Bungie. Either release them or shut down the studio. But I think you're the one that said, like, maybe that's why they're not shut down, is because they're not a PlayStation studio.
I mean, let's be real. The CEO Pete Parsons left. I think Sony can do probably at this point more than they're leading on. I mean, we don't know the agreement, but Sony purchased them. You know, I don't necessarily know that they're helpless in this matter.
What would be helpful to know is exactly how much control Sony has over Bungie.
Which is something we will never know.
Probably.
But again, Pete Parsons, if Sony was not, if Bungie had been autonomous still, or had complete autonomy and were never purchased by Sony, I don't know that Pete Parsons would have ever left. I think part of Pete Parsons leaving was pressure from Sony.
Okay.
I mean, how else do you get the CEO to leave?
I mean, maybe Pete Parsons wanted to leave. Maybe.
Possibly, but when it coincides with the studio kind of starting to go downhill, and then there's all those questions about did they make up some, well, there was that question of whether they told Sony the entire truth about their financials. Like, I mean, all this stuff starts coming out, and there's all these questions raised about Bungie, and Parsons is like, hey, I'm stepping away. Like, I don't know. It just seems like there was a lot of negativity going on at the same time when Parsons had left.
All right, well, before we shut down the show, one of the comments on the article says they're thinking about either cutting the price tag, which is $40, or implementing a free trial weekend. Do you think either one of those could help save Marathon? Alex, I'll ask you first.
Well, hold on. What they're cutting the price to
No,
what?
No. They're saying the article, Kotaku's article says, well, some of the things that they should try is either cutting the price or giving a free weekend, and it says something diehard fans have asked for in the past. My question to you is,
you said $4 though, or $40. So
$40.
What is the current cost to play Marathon?
$40.
So it's the same as Helldivers.
Correct.
So I think a free weekend would help, but the cost is a barrier. Like, again, it's cheaper than most modern games, or like a lot of AAA games that come out. But I don't think really watching the game in previews got really that many people positive on it. Now, you said that the people who do play it seem to enjoy it, but
I mean,
a free weekend, like,
the ratings are
do
high.
they have well, here's the thing. Do they have the model to go to free to play? Like, if you cut out the cost and it's no longer $40 or it's $20, how are you going to make up the money? Like, do they have microtransactions in there?
I don't know.
Because I mean, it's really easy to
Yes.
say, "Oh, they do." Matt.
Yeah, and because it's also battle pass based. It's got other knickknacks here and there. The issue is they did the free to play weekend when it opened, and that didn't get enough people to buy in. Like it they called it the crash the server test. It was free to play for the week leading up to it. So yeah. And Dex says, or $59.95 Australian. Sorry, Dex. I know how much pricing down there sucks.
All right, Matt. Do you think so? You don't think a free weekend would help?
Short term, yes. Long term, no.
Okay. All right. Let's close out the show because we're over 2 hours now. Alex, you have shout outs and we'd like to hear them.
Oh, you think I do, huh? Give a shout out to the listeners, the fans, the fuel to the fire. This trophy horse. We thank you all very much. We appreciate you all so much, and thanks for helping us keep this train rolling. Give a shout out to my co-host Tricky and Matt, as well as thank Yield for his updates when it comes to the rarity event run by Gareth. Thank you, Gareth, and give just a shout out to Sid for he's compiling all the trophies and the platinums, and he's gonna grace us with an episode when he's damn good and ready. So shout out to Sid. Thanks to Will for his artwork. We appreciate it. He always does good work every week. And last but not least, give a shout out to my loving and awesome girlfriend, Ashley. Also, happy Mother's Day to Ashley. And yeah, we took Athena for a nice walk in the park, got smoothies, and we got Mexican food. So I don't know how you can beat that. But yeah, that is going to be my shout outs.
I've never had a smoothie in my life. Matt, your shout
I thought
outs.
you were going to say you've never had Mexican food in your life. I was about to truly be gobsmacked.
I've had tacos, but I don't think that's Mexican.
What?
It's
Matt.
It's
Matt?
it's a comedy, a comedian joke. Sorry, you wouldn't have
I
gotten
was
that.
going to say, you saw what he ate for chicken parm. I don't take anything he says into seriousness. Shout out to you, gents, for recording tonight. Shout out to Yield for helping us behind the scenes. Shout out to Gareth and Sid for your contributions to the show. Shout out to Will for your drawings. Shout out to Dex and Dupes, who I saw in chat tonight. Thanks for coming by. Shout out to my wife, V. Thank you for everything you do. Shout out to the Channel 3 community. Make sure to go to channel3.gg for gamified social media. Shout out to all the moms doing your things out there, whether you are moms or fur moms, whatever you do, you're contributing to the goodness in this world. And finally, shout out to, today marks 1 year since we lost Zelda. It came up in all my Facebook memories. So just, hug your pets out there, folks.
Shout out to everybody that listens to the show. Shout out to Dex, Pinball, and Dupes for being in the chat tonight. Pinball, I'm surprised you didn't say anything. Normally he's a little vocal. Dex in the chat says, fuck me, Tricky. No, I'm not gonna. Shout out to Sweet Mama D. And if there's nothing else, until next week, happy trophy hunting.
Eject.
Later.
The theme song is Venus by the band Even off their album Zenith. Permission granted by the band and 12 Stone Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines.